If I were you, I wouldn't pull that trigger. The moment froze.
You
A
wouldn't
sentence
dare.
spoken by Elena Rodriguez,
I think you'll find I
black
would.
maid with calmness that didn't belong in a room about to explode, sliced through the glittering ballroom air. The man holding the pistol jerked, startled. From across the room, Elena stood 15 feet away, slate-gray apron crisp, dark eyes sharp. Until now, just another background figure. But she'd been watching him all evening, quietly, intently as he slithered through the crowd, never making eye contact, never drinking, always counting exits. She knew what he was before he reached into his jacket. "I said," Elena repeated, "don't pull that trigger." The man stiffened but tried to cover. "What the hell are you talking about?" "I'm a guest, lady." He forced a laugh. "Y'all see this? She's accusing random people now." But no one laughed. Eyes moved between Elena and the gunman. She stepped closer, voice steady. "You came through the staff corridor. Badge said AV consultant, but no equipment. No clipboard, no tools. Blazer too snug." She continued methodically. "2 tours around the ballroom. Didn't take a drink, shake a hand. Never looked anyone in the eye, but kept checking exits clockwise. Refused water, adjusted your right ear every few minutes, earpiece too small. Held your right shoulder stiff, compensating for the weapon's weight." "Shut your damn mouth," he growled. "You're standing in the one corner that had a blind spot before security cameras were reprogrammed 20 minutes ago. You didn't know that changed." The room went silent. "You just couldn't keep your mouth shut," he snapped, raising the gun higher. "Should have stayed in your lane, you little nobody. You don't belong here. You think putting on a uniform makes you part of their world. You're just the help." Elena didn't hear the murmurs anymore. Her eyes tracked his hand, the tension in his shoulders. She launched toward him. A blur slammed into her from behind, heavy blow to the ribs, then skull. White flashed behind her eyes as she crumpled. The second man, shorter, leaner, in waiter's uniform, stood over her with a stun baton, grinning. "Didn't see me, did you, hero?" Everything dissolved. She was in Syria again. Dust, screams, gunfire. She remembered shouting into her mic, "Hold position, I'm coming!" But she was too far. By the time she reached the safe house, Martinez was gone. Just dog tags in the silence. She had failed him. "Elena!" The voice snapped her back. Bright lights flooded her vision. Victor Kane stood nearby, hands raised, face pale. Right behind him was the first gunman, pressing the muzzle against his temple. The second assailant had moved to Arthur Blake, cowering behind the buffet table. "Try anything else and the billionaire dies," the gunman growled. Elena slowly pushed herself upright. Kane's eyes met hers, steady, unshaken. She blinked once, deliberately. A signal. Kane blinked back. In that moment, he knew this woman wasn't just a maid. "You want to know why I'm here?" the gunman snarled. "That man sold technology meant to protect soldiers to foreign black markets. People died. My brother died." Elena looked at Kane. He gave a barely perceptible nod. They moved. Kane dropped low, spinning from the gunman's grip. Elena lunged, driving her heel into the attacker's wrist. The gun flew across marble. The second assailant turned, shocked, but security and guests surged forward. Both attackers were pinned, cuffed. "Who the hell are you?" someone asked. "I used to be FBI," Elena said simply. "Until I lost someone." Kane walked over. "Thank you. You saved my life." He hesitated. "I own a private security firm. We could use someone like you." "She's a maid, Victor," someone whispered. "She's a warrior," Kane corrected. By morning, headlines explode. Dead. But Elena sat quietly in a patrol car, watching the night sky. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a ghost. The press painted the story, but Elena knew better. Rosa found her carrying champagne flutes like nothing had happened. "Elena, you can't disappear after that," Rosa said. "I've had enough questions." Kane cut through guests with commanding presence. "You saved me and Blake. I'm not letting you walk away without answers." "I gave you an answer. I used to be FBI." "That's the beginning. You move like someone who never stopped." Against better judgment, Elena followed him to a private lounge. "Those men didn't pick tonight by accident. Blake's involved in something dirty. They'll come after you too. I'm used to that." "You shouldn't have to be. I have resources, but none of them did what you did tonight." Elena shook her head. "I left that world. I lost someone I should have saved." "You didn't freeze tonight. You stopped 2 trained killers." Detective Ramirez entered. "Miss Rodriguez, need a statement." When he finished, Kane waited. "They're gone. The press will eat this up." "I don't care about press. Think about my offer. You don't have to decide tonight." Later, Elena slipped out the staff entrance into cool night. Reporters huddled like vultures. She felt eyes on her, the story spreading faster than she could outrun. By morning, her name blazed across headlines. Elena Rodriguez sat in her Harlem apartment, television muted. She'd spent 2 years building a quiet life. One night had ripped it apart. Rosa knocked. "Elena, you're all over the news. Half call you a hero. Others want to know why a maid moves like a soldier." "Because I was one." Her phone buzzed. Private number. "Elena Rodriguez. This is Agent Torres, FBI. We need to talk. You stepped into something bigger. The men you helped take down are connected. International. This isn't over." The line went dead. That afternoon, Elena walked through Wade Enterprises' glass doors. The receptionist didn't took her name. "Mr. Kane is expecting you." She was led to a high-rise office overlooking Central Park. Kane stood by the window. "I was wondering if you'd come." "I shouldn't have. You did it because it's who you are. That's why I want you here, as leadership in my security division." Before Elena could reply, Lyle Turner burst in with a tablet. "Sir, you need to see this." Surveillance footage showed masked men at another building. Same crew, same precision. "They're not stopping," Kane said grimly. Elena studied the footage. "They're professionals, but sloppy enough to get caught. That means they're sending a message. You know how to read it." Finally, Elena exhaled. "I'll help. But not because I work for you. Because I need to know who sent them. Consider this a partnership." As she left, reporters swarmed. She said nothing, pushing past into the cold air. Somewhere in the city, enemies were moving pieces across a board she'd just stepped onto. Elena pulled her coat tighter. Her quiet life was over. That evening, exhaustion draped over her shoulders. She'd lived invisible for years. Now she couldn't vanish if she tried. The phone rang. Agent Torres again. "The men you faced aren't small time. They're contracted by a syndicate we've been tracking for years. Blake's deals put him on their radar. They've seen your face. That makes you a target." Sleep didn't come easy. When it did, it was filled with ghosts. Martinez's hands slipping away. Gunfire through plaster walls. Next morning, Kane's car waited outside. Black, sleek, tinted windows. "You didn't answer my calls," he said as she slid in. "I didn't want to." They arrived at Kane Enterprises. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashing. Inside, Kane led her to a conference room with photographs and dossiers spread across the table. "These are the men you stopped, but the man funding this is still out there." Elena Studius had the photos. "Hired hands, disposable. You think Blake's still the target?" "He knows too much. My investments are tangled with his. If Blake falls, they'll come for me too." Lyle entered, eyes narrowing at Elena. She doesn't belong in this room. She belongs wherever I say, Kane replied evenly. She's a liability. You want this company tied to a former FBI dropout? Kane's voice cut through tension. That's enough. Leave us. After Lyle left, Kane rubbed his temples. You want my help? Then I need access, files, contacts, anything the Bureau has, and I need Blake alone. That can be arranged. The city felt different as Elena left. Every shadow seemed sharper. She knew the syndicate wouldn't wait long. This time she wasn't just reacting. This time, she was hunting. Elena found herself outside a discreet brownstone on the Upper East Side. Kane's people had arranged it. Arthur Blake sat at a wide oak table, expensive suit rumpled, eyes bloodshot. You, he said. The Maid. Ex-FBI. And the only reason you're alive. Blake winced. I didn't ask for a savior. The men who came for you aren't finished. Next time, no one may be there to stop them. Blake's bravado cracked. They don't want me to testify. If I open my mouth, I take down senators, CEOs, generals. I signed contracts I shouldn't have. Weapons went missing. Then I saw the reports. Soldiers dead, kids with rifles they shouldn't recognize. You waited until now to find a conscience? You think walking away is free? The moment I told the wrong person I wanted out, I had a target on my back. Then help me make sure they fail. Who's pulling the strings? Blake stared at her, hands trembling. Finally, he pulled a pen, scribbled a name, and slid it across the table. Elena didn't look immediately. When she did, her blood ran cold. It was someone she'd seen in bureau briefings, a man she'd believed untouchable. Shattering glass cut through the room. Flash of light burst across walls. Security men shouted as bullets ripped through curtains. Elena threw herself over Blake. They know you talked. We move now. They rushed toward the back exit. Blake clutched her arm. I told you, if that name gets out, save it. You've already put us both in crosshairs. They spilled into the alley as a black SUV roared past. Elena pushed Blake into cover as the rear window rolled down. She fired back, weapon drawn. The SUV swerved, speeding into morning traffic. You still carry? Blake panted. Old habits. Now shut up and move. In the safe car, Elena looked at the paper still clenched in her fist. She whispered the name. Richard Kane. When they reached Kane's office, he was waiting, glass of whiskey untouched. They found us, Elena said, tossing the paper onto his desk. Kane's eyes narrowed. That's going to make things interesting. Blake collapsed into a chair. You don't understand. If Kane knows I named him, that ambush wasn't random, Elena cut in. It was a warning. Kane tapped the paper. Then we don't wait. We go after him first. Elena leaned forward. If you're serious, understand this isn't about your company's reputation. This is about dismantling a machine built on blood. Once we start, there's no turning back. Kane met her stare, unflinching. Then we start. Elena sat back, pulse steady despite the storm building. She'd sworn never to return to this world, but it had come for her anyway. With Martinez's ghost still heavy on her shoulders, she knew there was only one way forward. Fight. Rain fell over Manhattan like a curtain. Inside the fortified conference room, Elena stood with arms crossed, staring at the whiteboard littered with photographs and documents. Richard Kane's name sat in bold letters at the center. Blake sat slumped, pale and jittery. Kane sat composed but restless. Kane is the architect, Elena said. He hides behind layers of contractors, politicians, corporations. If we want him down, we need evidence. Blake scoffed. Every ledger, every contract was scrubbed clean. Everyone leaves something, Elena replied firmly. We find one thread and pull until it unravels. Lyle leaned back, smirking. Sounds heroic, but what you're describing takes months. Meanwhile, Kane destroys reputations overnight. Kane cut in. Elena's right. Evidence is our weapon. Elena pointed at the map. Kane's operations run through dozens of shell companies, but Iron Shield logistics doesn't fit. New, barely 3 years old, but handling billions. Their Brooklyn warehouse supposedly stores farm equipment, except it has Fort Knox security. That's where the paper trail begins, Elena continued. Blake rubbed his temples. I know Iron Shield. If you dig there, you'll find something, but you'll paint a Manhattan-sized target on your back. Then we'll move faster than they can aim. That afternoon, Elena prepared alone. Holster, weapon, gloves. The familiar ritual calmed her while reminding her of everything she'd sworn to leave behind. Kane entered, dressed practically, dark jacket, boots. You're coming with me? You think I'll let you walk into Kane's den alone? This isn't a boardroom, Elena warned. I know, but if I want to understand Kane's world, I need to see it. By nightfall, they parked across from Iron Shield warehouse in a van. Rain slicked streets. Razor wire crowned the perimeter fence. Floodlights swept the yard. Guards with rifles paced in pairs. This isn't farm equipment storage, Kane muttered. No, this is a fortress. Elena outlined the plan. Breach through blind spot, bypass cameras with jammer, slip inside through loading bay. They moved, Elena's body flowing with muscle memory. Kane followed, less graceful but determined. The jammer hissed as she activated it. They slipped inside. The warehouse was vast, filled with stacked crates labeled agricultural machinery. But when Elena pried one open, her stomach hardened. Inside were rifles, hundreds of them, military grade. This is the EVIT. Dense we need, Kane whispered. Before she could photograph anything, a voice echoed from above. The Maid and the Billionaire. Kane said you'd come sniffing. Floodlights blazed. Dozens of armed men stepped from behind crates. The figure on the catwalk grinned, scarred face, sharp eyes. Name's Voss, Kane's fixer. He figured curiosity would drag you here. Elena steadied her aim. If you were here to kill us, we'd already be dead. Voss chuckled. Smart. Kane doesn't want you dead. Not yet. He wants you broken, caught red-handed, maybe planting evidence. Kane's jaw tightened. He'll spin this into a scandal. When cameras roll, you'll be villains, not Kane. Elena's finger hovered near the trigger, mind racing. Outnumbered, surrounded but not defeated. Then I guess we'll rewrite the script. Kane glanced at her, understanding in his eyes. He'd seen it before, the moment she faced a gun without fear. Elena took one breath, fire surging through her veins. She would not fall quietly into Kane's trap. Floodlights seared Elena's eyes, but she didn't flinch. Around them, metallic clicks of rifles echoed off steel walls. Drop the weapon, Rodriguez, Voss called. Don't make me decorate the floor with you. Elena counted at least 15 men visible. Outgunned, outnumbered, but not outsmarted. You think Kane can bury this? We've seen the crates. Guns where there should be tractors. Voss chuckled. Pictures? That jammer fried your camera, too. You're walking out with nothing. He's bluffing, Kane muttered. Elena smiled faintly. No, he's afraid we haven't lost. Voss gestured sharply. Take them. Elena moved fast, shoving Kane toward crates, firing 2 shots. A guard went down. Chaos erupted. Move, Kane! She shouted, diving behind cover as bullets tore into wood. Kane scrambled behind a forklift, heart pounding. This was survival, raw and terrifying. He watched Elena move with impossible precision, orchestrating rather than panicking. 2 men flanked left. Elena anticipated, rolling out and catching one with a clean shoulder shot. The second lunged. She disarmed him, slamming the rifle butt into his jaw. "Kane, cover me!" she barked. He spotted a dropped pistol, hand shaking as he picked it up. When another man closed in, Kane squeezed the trigger. The bullet ricocheted, but the noise made the attacker falter long enough for Elena to finish the job. "Enough games! Kill them!" Voss snarled. Gunfire intensified. Elena slid beside Kane, reloading. "You all right?" "Still breathing." "Good. Keep it that way." She studied the overhead catwalk supported by thick beams. Above Voss, a crane system hung suspended, chains dangling. "See that crane?" she asked Kane. "When I say go, shoot at the chain control." Kane swallowed hard. "And you?" "I'll handle the rest." She waited, heartbeats pounding. "Now!" Kane fired wildly toward the control box. Sparks erupted as a bullet struck metal. The chains rattled violently. The pallet above lurched, then crashed down. The catwalk shook, tilting. Guards tumbled. Elena sprinted from cover, weaving through chaos with lethal precision. She reached the stairs as Voss regained his footing, leveling his pistol. She fired first. His gun spun away, clattering to the ground. Instead of fleeing, he laughed. "You think this ends with me? Kane's already 10 moves ahead." Elena closed the distance, pressing her gun to his chest. "Then I'll break every move until I do." They stared at each other, predator meeting predator. "You don't have the guts." Elena didn't pull the trigger. Instead, she struck him across the face with her pistol hard enough to drop him unconscious. Below, Kane stared in disbelief. The warehouse was silent except for groans of injured men. Elena descended, grabbing Kane's arm. "We don't have long. Kane will know his trap failed." They slipped into the night as sirens wailed in the distance. In the van speeding away, Kane finally spoke. "You could have killed him. Why didn't you bow?" Elena stared out the rain-streaked window. "Because Kane wants me to become like him. I won't give him that victory. You're not like him. You never could be." Elena didn't answer. Deep down, she wasn't sure. But she couldn't afford doubts now. Kane knew she was coming, and she wouldn't stop until his machine was rubble. The city buzzed with news of the warehouse raid. Headlines screamed betrayal, and Elena's face glowed from screens, painted as a terrorist. In a shuttered bookstore basement, Elena and Kane hunched over a laptop as the flash drive from Iron Shield loaded. Bank transfers, hidden contracts, military shipments disguised as humanitarian aid, politicians' names who'd taken bribes, generals who'd signed off on missing weapons. Kane leaned back, trembling. "This isn't just Kane. This is half the government." Elena scrolled through files. "They already call us traitors. Might as well give them truth to choke on." "Do you ever wonder if the fight's too big?" Elena looked at him, letting him see the rawness in her eyes. "Every damn day. But Martinez died because of this machine. I can't walk away again." Footsteps echoed above, heavy, controlled, tactical boots. Elena snapped the laptop shut. "They found us!" Men in gear stormed the basement. Elena toppled a shelf, books spilling, fired 2 shots. "Move!" They burst into the alley. Shouts followed, boots pounding. A black SUV screeched around the corner. From inside stepped Richard Kane, calm, composed, smile infuriatingly intact. "You've run long enough, Rodriguez," he said. "Hand over the drive." Elena planted herself between Kane and Kane, pistol raised. "You should have killed me when you had the chance. I want you alive. I want you to see how powerless you are." Agent Torres stepped from the opposite end with federal agents, rifles leveled at Kane's men. "Drop your weapons." "Torres, the loyal hound," Kane said. "Do you really think you can bite the hand that feeds your bureau?" "Tonight the leash is off," Torres replied grimly. Chaos erupted. Gunfire thundered, the alley filling with smoke. Elena shoved Kane toward cover, returning fire. Torres's agents pressed forward. Elena saw Kane slipping toward his SUV. Everything narrowed. Martinez's voice echoed, "Finish the mission." She surged forward, slamming into Kane before he reached the car. They crashed against the hood, his pistol skittering away. His fist cracked her jaw, pain exploding white, but she gripped his lapel. "You built this," she hissed, knee driving into his ribs. "Every ghost, every grave, this is you." Kane snarled, shoving her off, grabbing for a knife. "Every grave is fuel for power. Kill me, Rodriguez, but the machine lives on." The blade slashed, grazing her arm. She caught his wrist, twisted. The knife clattered down. Their eyes locked. "This ends now," she said, driving her fist into his throat. Kane staggered, choking. Torres's men swarmed, forcing him down, cuffs snapping shut. Elena stood over him, chest heaving. This was the man who'd haunted her for years. Now he was on the ground, shackled. Torres approached. "We'll take it from here." Elena's grip on her pistol tightened. For one fleeting second, she considered ending Kane permanently. But Martinez's voice returned. "Don't become what you fight." Her hand lowered. She turned away. Kane stepped beside her, still clutching the laptop. "You did it." She shook her head. "We did it, and it's not over. This evidence will topple him and everyone he bought, but it'll tear the city apart first." Elena's gaze rose to the skyline where dawn was breaking. Maybe it needs to. Maybe that's the only way something better can grow from the ashes. As Torres's men dragged Kane into the van, Elena and Kane stood together, battered but unbroken. "Where do we go now?" Kane asked. Elena's lips curved into a faint smile. "Wherever the fight takes us." The first light of dawn spilled over the city, painting streets gold, and for the first time in years, Elena felt something beyond rage and grief, the fire of hope. Martinez's ghost was still there, but quieter now, not a burden, but a companion. The war wasn't finished, but Elena Rodriguez was ready. As the city braced for the storm of truth, she stepped into the light, carrying justice not as a shield, but as a flame. The story of Elena Rodriguez reminds us that true justice is never easy, and courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to stand against it. Power built on lies may control headlines, but truth endures. Even when odds seem impossible, one person's resolve can ignite change. From the ashes of corruption, hope can rise again.